have.
Hey guys, Dr. James Jernigan with Cornerstone Chiropractic. I'm here with Liz Kahn with you, and we have partnered up. We are in this office together because we want to be a resource in the community for you to make action steps and make changes that you can start to apply right after the video to drastically change your life, your family's lives, your friends and family as you're talking with them, be able to implement it into their lives as well. And so what we want to do is we want to be a resource through this new year so that you can start to hit your goals and actually be able to stay on track. And
Staying on track is a tough thing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a joke, and we all get it. And honestly, it's crazy. Whenever somebody talks about a New Year's resolution, 95% of the time, if they say that, they follow it up with how quickly are they going to fall off track.
Right. That's always if I can make it till February, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
And, it's human. It's human nature. That's what we do. We don't expect perfection from ourselves. I feel like if we haven't talked about it on video yet, that's certainly something we're going to be talking more about. But, setting yourself up for success instead of setting yourself up for failure. And by saying, let's see if I can make it, that's almost like saying, I'm just automatically going to divert to the path of not going to make it. So we're here to talk about.
Absolutely. Because deep down, if your thought process is, hopefully I can make it by February, that really means
I'm not sure I can.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be the first week of January. And so the underlying beliefs right there are saying, you already know that you're not going to be able to succeed. And so really today what we want to talk about is emotions.
Right. Well, and I was just going to say our beliefs stir up a lot of emotions about things.
Yeah, they do.
Right?
Absolutely. And
so we want to make sure that our emotions are good information for us so that we can take those next steps and just decide.
Yes.
Make an intentional decision as to whether or not we're going to eat that cake or skip exercising. Whatever it is that our resolution says we're going to do, possibly, probably, we want to say definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so like what Liz was just hitting at too is your emotions are extremely important, and you should be able to be in touch with your emotions. They give you a ton of resources and information about the world around you and what you're experiencing, right?
Well, specifically, like when I have an emotion, let's say you've said something that offended me, right? The first thing that happens is something, it's probably going to be in my body. I'm going to go, wait, what did he just say? That's when those thoughts start to happen. It's like, oh, he just said something that upset me. I get to make a choice from that point. I get to say, hey, James, what you just said offended me. Or I can be like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, ask for clarification or
blow up.
Yeah,
because the emotion can take control if I don't know how to use that information to make a choice about the next step. Because I like this guy, and if he says something to offend me, I don't want to end our friendship, right? We're going to talk about it.
Absolutely. I say a ton of things, and I probably speak, 80 miles an hour. And so if I say something that's rude, it's probably just came out wrong. And so, but yeah, so your emotions are extremely important.
Yeah.
And I think the deepest level is you have to be able to understand what your triggers are and why you have those triggers. And that's something that you dive into deep with your clients, right?
Sometimes. It's funny because as a behaviorist, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm a behaviorist. We focus on the outcomes of our behaviors. So instead of really diving deep and understanding why, because that's what a therapist is phenomenal for, we really focus on not just the triggers, but literally how our bodies respond. Like I was saying, if I'm offended, my body is going to do something.
Yeah.
I want to know what that is. I want you to know what that is so that you can say, hey, when this happens, that means that I'm about to trip into an emotional spiral that might get out of control. That's where we do our work. We consider how our behaviors make an impact on the world. And if they don't work for us, like if I blow up at my boss and I get fired, well, gee, my anger just took me to a level, even if it was justified anger, it took me to a level where I no longer am employed.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. Right? So with the behavioral component, we're really looking to make sure that your behaviors work in any environment and that you feel good about it. Now that's the part, because even that, it's not about the why. It's about taking control of your thought process so that you are the one who's making decisions about what happens next.
That's good, because when you are talking about making a lifestyle change, whether it's starting to work out or eat healthy or exercise, whatever it is, right?
Or respond better to people.
Yeah.
Right?
And when you do that, you cannot, as like making a change, and a lot of times a beneficial or good change, right? Because it takes hard work, it takes effort, it takes...
why else do we make resolutions, right?
And so your emotions are extremely important to find out what's going on around you. You should be able to be in touch with them, but your emotions cannot dictate whether you're going to make the action or not. And so a lot of us, what happens is we start to fall or tend to fall into an emotionally driven life. And so you might know at the end of the day, maybe at like 10 o'clock at night, you're laying down for bed and you're like, tomorrow I'm going to wake up, I'm going to work out, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to have a smoothie, I'm going to do all these things. And then your alarm clock comes, you hit snooze.
Yeah.
You hit snooze. Why? Because emotionally driven, you don't want to. Yeah, it's like, I don't feel like it. And so if you're going to make a New Year's resolution, you cannot dictate your actions by those emotions.
Right.
You can feel them and you can feel tired. But it's like, yeah, but you still got to get up and move.
You know, it's interesting because you bring that up, and the first thing that comes to my mind is support. My alarm clock goes off. If I hit snooze, I'm getting an elbow. Get out of bed. And so that's helpful.
Yeah.
When it comes to being on your own and it's lunchtime and you're hungry and you're kind of crunched for time, are you going to go and make a good healthy choice for lunch? Can you? And it's nice to have a support. So can I jump in with that?
Go for it.
I mean, that's what we're here for. To be support if you're not feeling like you've got it. We're both textable. And also to help kind of create that community that lets you know and everybody else know you're not alone in this. This is not easy. It's not easy. But we can make it easier with the tools that we have to share.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's that first few weeks. That's the toughest part. You know, they say 21 days. There's a lot of different research showing how long it really takes to make a habit.
Is it 30, 60, 90 days,
yeah.
right?
So regardless, though, the accountability, if you have somebody that you have to text or tell, like, hey, I got my workout in today, or hey, I didn't get my workout in, like having that accountability that actually, because there's a lot of people that preach accountability, and then you do it, but then the accountability isn't really there. And so what Liz is saying is we want to be that resource for you. We want to have a community, whether we make a Facebook group of
that would be a neat idea too.
The New Year's resolutions, and then holding you accountable and knowing that even though it's tough, that a ton of other people are going through the same thing, and we are going to make those changes.
Can I make one little point about accountability? Accountability isn't judgment, right? Supportive accountability. Okay, you didn't make it today. We're going to do it tomorrow. Can you find time later today to do it?
Yeah.
Like, don't give up just because we didn't hit that mark at the moment that we had scheduled, we had planned.
Yes. And you hit perfection, right? Earlier in this video, and then the last video that we did about the perfection, and that's where that perfection, that shame, that guilt starts to drive itself. And so you maybe make it 3 days of eating healthy, and then you slip up and you have some chips or you have a cookie, and then you're like,
I blew it.
I knew I wasn't going to get this New Year's resolution. You made it 3 days when it could have just been a little hiccup, like a reminder, like, oops, yep, I'm going to get back on track, and maybe I'm going to have, a little bit harder to work out, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it doesn't always have to be that balance. Like, if I didn't get my 30 minutes of aerobics in this morning, which I didn't, by the way, maybe I'll do 15 minutes later, and that'll be okay, right? So it doesn't always have to be that perfect balance. We just have to find what works for us. And if we're doing it intentionally, instead of, I missed my 30 minutes today, or ate that cookie, so now I have to do an hour and a half on the treadmill and all this other, we're just beating ourselves up. And that is the last thing I think you and I want.
Yeah.
And we don't want anyone to sit there thinking, I have failed. Because that is that emotional state that leads to actually not doing anything.
And honestly, it leads to a regression, and you spend a month or however long it takes for you to get fed up again, to try it all again, to fail in a few days. And so we want to end that negative feedback loop, that bad cycle.
I'm checking out the time here. We were going to do short videos. We're going to do short videos like
I don't know
every day we can.
Possible.
We're going to try to keep them under 10 minutes. I'm looking. We're pretty close to the line here.
Right at 10 minutes. Leave a comment below of a certain area that you want to work on or you want us to dive into, and we'll be able to do that. We want to do at least 5 videos a week.
That's going to be our resolution. We're going to try.
We're going to hit 5 videos a week, and we're committed to it because we're committed to you.
Yeah.
And so you leave a comment so that we can be as specific and dive into those areas that you really need help on.
Yeah,
so,
that's what we're here for.
Until tomorrow.
Wait, tomorrow's Saturday.
I know, but we're going to do a couple videos.
Oh, okay. We're going to keep going.
Up for it because
of yesterday. We'll talk about it tomorrow. All right. Bye, guys.